We technically have the same alma mater.
Oh, for real?
Cause I went there for a little bit.
Go North.
I went there for a little bit. But at what age did you realize that you wanted to be a lawyer?
Career, like it was the most unconventional, and I don't know, maybe there's other lawyers out there that had the same experience, but I was 7 years old and I was like, I want to be a lawyer, but you know, what was it, I don't know, 19 years passed by. I never thought about it again. When I first went to school, I started at Wright State as a computer engineer. Then I went to computer science. Then I figured, and then I went to business. And I was like, Alisse, honey, you're bad at math. You're terrible at math. You're terrible at science. Like, you really need to do some soul searching. And so I knew that I wanted to help people. Right. And one of the things two things that motivated me to become a lawyer. One was because as a child, I went through a lot of family law issues. Because of just the way I grew up and my mom just trying to, get life right. And, biological father wouldn't, then mom remarried and he wasn't cool, So it's like I saw a lot as a kid, being in court. And so I was like, I want to help kids navigate, this. I want to help them know that it's not their fault and all this other stuff, Right. Shout out to my mom, Keisha. She was phenomenal lady, really did everything. She's big part of the reason why I am where I am today. But Tukey Williams really was the turning point for me. And I don't know if everybody know who Tukey Williams is, but he was a guy who was in a gang out in LA and put in some work, got imprisoned and sentenced to the death sentence. And it was amazing to me that man had been in there for like a couple of decades and he had turned around lives. And I'm like, but wait, isn't the justice system, isn't the prison system supposed to rehabilitate? Isn't that the whole point? You know what I mean? Like, what good is it to take this man's life? Like, I get it. Those lives are lost, and that's sad, and that's terrible, and those families will never see their loved one again. I get that, but if you've got somebody who turned from a devil, so to speak, to an angel on earth, like turning around lives, like, isn't that what we want? And the fact that they execute this man anyway, decades later after he committed his crimes, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, something's got to be done about this. So the odd thing was, by the time I got to law school, I was like, I don't want to litigate. I don't want to do criminal law. I don't want to do family law. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I'm going to Congress. I'm going to make laws. But, as we, like they say, as we plan, God laughs. So I decided to be a lawyer, like I said, for those reasons, because I wanted to help people. I just really didn't quite understand in what capacity really until the last year, y'all. Believe it or not, like it's been a journey. Right. Yeah. Like, real talk. Like, there's a lot of lawyers that I know they're like always knew they wanted to be a lawyer, or once they got to college they were like, this is what I'm going to be, and then they were on this specific path and everything panned out well for them. They've had the same job for the past 10 years, or and I look at that and I'm like, why couldn't my life be that smooth? But honestly, I think had I not experienced what I experienced and gone through the journey that I've gone through, I don't think I would have half the understanding that I have now and be able to do what I do and do it as I hear as well as I do today. Right.
That's the process of life. Like, you can't live nobody else's process. You got to do your own work to fill up your toolbox with the tools you're going to need to take yourself further. Like, that's crazy.
Right.
What do you feel about being a lawyer in these times with all the how does it affect your job, like all the black murders by cop, things like that?
I mean, my grandmother said that I was an activist when I was a kid, writing letters to L'Oreal telling them, I'm not buying your products, and my family's not buying it either, because they were testing on bunnies. I couldn't believe it. I'm 7. I've always been against injustice, and sometimes I think the plus of being a lawyer in these times, well, I mean, in our lifetime period, right? It's just escalated more, I think, or it's just being more widely publicized that it's happening, because we've known this has been happening forever, and it's happened in different forms depending on what decade we're talking about, right? You know,
right.
back in the 60s, it was, you know, and before that and shortly after, it was, or, you know, before that was lynching.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so all they did was trade in, you know, for the long time, they traded in the hoods for the badges. You know what I mean? Not all of them. Shout out to law enforcement. I mean, I think most police are good people. I do. It's just a few bad actors that fell through the cracks, were not properly screened. And now you got people like Ray Tensing, who's just out here in the streets after clearly murdering somebody. Like, I don't care what nobody says.
Didn't he get a settlement or something? He got some money.
Man, this dude, I just can't even, like, so to answer your question, like, as an attorney, you feel like you have some power to do something, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, sometimes it's almost like, how? Because sometimes people just want to talk about it. Sometimes people just want to march about it, you know, and I'm just like, you know, damn all that, what we gonna do?
Right.
You know, aside from civil unrest, because that's what I hope never happens. But my concern is that we're getting there because we don't have clear leadership, okay? We don't. Like, we got a few people in the country who we look up to, who we think are making really good noise, who are trying to do things, but we as a collective, it's not there. You know what I mean? So I feel like as long as we're disjointed, we can have a million lawyers. You know what I mean? But even as lawyers, like, as long as we're disjointed as a community, like, me being a lawyer doesn't make me feel like, you know, I could just put that S on my chest and put on my cape and get up there and, like, really make something happen like that.
A lot of people got to feel left out of the movement to want to be part of it. Like, especially in Cincinnati, you see it with the music scene and everything.
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, the people who are ready to make a change, making a change? Yeah. And then hopefully it'll impact and influence other people. What about things like that?
I mean, I would love for that to be really, like, at the end of the day, I think people need to, like, get out of their own way sometimes. Some people have to understand, like, it's not about taking credit for being the person who effectuated change.
Yeah.
It's about getting with the people who have the wherewithal to make it happen and contributing your strength. And not worrying about being the leader or not worrying about getting your name out there.
It's another way to divide us.
It is. And so we're too busy fighting each other because we want credit. I don't like their idea. It wasn't my idea. And I'm saying this, like, from experience. Like, I've been out here doing community service. I've been doing work in the community. You know, like, and from what I'm seeing, I'm like, geez Louise, people, like, why can't we just go? Why does it have to be this particular way? Why does it have to be that particular way? Like, why can't we just come together, come up with a plan? You do this, you do this, you do that.
Delegate tasks.
And let's delegate the task and then work as a collective.
Like you said,
they want to
everybody want to be the
shine.
star.
They want to shine, and it makes me sick. Like, I'm sickened at this point with how some things going. It's not to say that nobody in Cincinnati is making moves, because I believe that there are people who are making moves.
I mean, we just not used to having teams. We don't have teams in our households as we grow up. It's one parent. Like, it's a trend. Everything is a trend from a smaller point. Like, if you don't see teamwork in your household, you tend to push it out. And then once you get 30-something, you become a master at pushing away good change.
Right.
Like, so it's just like, I think the people who have the influence, who can make the moves, or who just want to be down with the movement, just move with the movement. And you're going to fall off. Once the movement becomes so big, it's just how life balances itself out. But once we take those steps, I think we really need to pull back the dollar, our dollar.
Yeah.
It affects stuff instantly.
Exactly.
You talking about it and being the coldest person who know how to articulate the struggle, it's like, that's old now.
Right.
We cold at talking about how bad it is.
And that's all we do is talk a lot of times. That's all we do is talk. But you're absolutely right. Like, but again, we have to be a collective with that. You know, there's a lot of people. Take the Gucci situation, for example. Makes me mad that I can turn on Basketball Wives and these girls are still wearing Gucci.
It was people like,
I mean?
Is the Gucci band over yet? Like, you that
and it's
thirsty?
Like, are you that, like, you, so go get black owned. Like, black owned is international now. So go buy that. Go buy the, you know, it's like T.I. said.
Black owned is field wear, though. I want that house wear.
What's that? What's the difference?
a field nigga and a house nigga.
Ain't that something though?
I want to be in the house. I want to be accepted by massa, man. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
But ain't that it though? That's crazy. Like that's crazy. It's like at the end of the day, I think black people gotta realize we have to make moves to show that we love ourselves and that we love our community and be together again as a community. Like I'm just gonna start a hashtag Where's the Village? Because I feel like if you look at the 60s,
another shirt.
Think about facts. Like Arthur, we writing this down.
Hey, I'll make sure they get it together, man.
But sincerely, like in the 60s and beforehand, were we not a collective as a people? Regardless of certain differences, whatever, we were still a community. You know, we policed ourselves, right? Now, you look at the influx in crime amongst juvenile 17 and under. And people are like, what's going on with change? What changed? Well, lots changed. For one, the courts criminalize, law enforcement and the courts criminalize juvenile behavior a lot, okay? That gets them in the system, which creates a school-to-prison pipeline. For two, we're disjointed as a community. Don't talk to my child. Don't tell my child, but your child is wrong. Your child is dead wrong. And without putting my hands on
that happens
them,
within a family.
Ain't it though?
An aunt is checking a niece or nephew, and the sister's like, ready to fight over it.
Right.
But that's because nobody want to. If I let you make him be accountable as a kid, then I'm gonna have to be accountable as an adult, and I'm not trying to do all that soul searching.
Do that,
right.
So we gonna put it's band-aids everywhere.
All kinds of, and we're springing leaks. At all places. So it's like if we could just get back together as a community, and then I think it's important that we do reach outside the community because hey, we didn't end slavery by ourselves. We didn't end Jim Crow and all of that by ourselves. We didn't get through the civil rights era by ourselves. We got as a movement across religions, across races, like
And even like I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Good.
Even like getting through slavery, like the underground, when you're going through the underground railroad, right?
Right.
You're not talking about it.
Right.
You're not publicizing, you ain't popping off.
It's a song.
Like
It's a song.
It's no philosophy, it's just you going.
Yeah. And
So
like
we got to do a lot of
songs,
things. People, and the people that run everything do things in quiet,
right.
in silence, and you know about it. When they boom, then that's when you know about it. They're not running their mouth. And if they're advertising it, they've already. This is probably something that's been in the work for years.
Right.
Now it's ready for the public.
Right.
We holding on to this one. We baking this one. Slow grinding on this one. Slow grinding. In 6 years, 7 years from now, then we'll come with this. They already knew they was having these phones 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like it's the same thing that we have to do. But coming through slavery. And like you said, at a certain point in time, we was a village. But so all right, we got to quit lynching them. Slavery. Well, first, slavery is not going to. We got to do something different about slavery. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now the hate groups like the KKK and other ones catching, lynching people.
Right.
Okay. Now we got to stop doing that. So like you said, it's going to be through the police, through the law. Certain police officers or whatever are going to implement this.
In the court system,
struggle
in the prison,
about keeping you down. So it's like, then when that doesn't work, let's start giving them money, because we done divided them.
Yeah.
From, like you said, the house nigga to the field nigga, light skin to dark skin, man versus woman. We done already did that back when they were slaves. So watch all this stuff unravel, and we just sit back and let it be whatever. And then we still, once you look at somebody like you said in Gucci, once you look at, that's what I'm trying to aspire to be. You done already gave that or them your power. Yeah. You got to not look at them as better than you or nothing like that. You just got to, it's hard to find knowledge of self when all this ignorance is all around us.
It's so many distractions.
So many distractions and stuff like that. But we have to do stuff. If it's just two of us, if it's just three of us, you show and prove by your actions. And then, like you said, somebody feel left out. Then they want to come. But if you try to include them all in the beginning, it's like, it's too many different personalities. Too many people want to be. Nobody wants to be selfless and just be a part of the team. Somebody, like you said, wants to get the credit. Wants to.
Everybody want to be a chief. But I mean, truth be told, like this whole thing's been systematic from the beginning. People love The Godfather, and I'm like, And I know the community gonna be like, what? But nah, man, The Godfather, it's a good story. It's a good story, but when I saw that movie for the first time and they said, don't sell it to kids, don't sell it. I just wanted to sell it to the niggers. And I was like, they actually said niggers.
Right.
And I was like, but y'all glorify that. Y'all glorify Scarface. But they were talking about flooding black communities with drugs. But there's the message. There's the message. That's kind of where it started. That's where you see that. If you think about what was happening in our communities when families started losing their fathers out the home, the man in the home, just think about what was going on at that time. The neighborhoods were being flooded with drugs and guns. People want to sit there and be like, oh, they did. I can't believe they're killing themselves. No, that was done by design. If we get them high, if we keep their neighborhoods impoverished, and this is the easiest, quickest, fastest way to get some money, because dad's not allowed in the house no more because, or he's gone from the house because he out doing whatever, but mom needs help. So she's getting assistance from the public, but you can't have a man in the house. Okay.
That movie Charlene, remember that?
I didn't watch it. Watch it.
Man, it was with Go ahead, finish your story. But it's a movie about that.
But that's probably and I gotta watch that movie.
I think and James Earl Jones.
I gotta watch that because that's exactly what they did. What basically was happened over the decades, y'all, since the ending of slavery, since the ending of Jim Crow, since the passing of Civil Rights Acts, the Civil Rights Act is a constant conquer and divide and a refacing of slavery, i.e., the new Jim Crow. I think I haven't finished the book yet. I'm trying to get emotionally equipped to do it because, like you asked me earlier, like how do I feel about the police shootings and and let me say this: it breaks my heart to see a police officer kill an unarmed black person. But it also breaks my heart even more to see each other see us killing each other. So it's like a circle to me.
It is.
It's a circle. It's like if you keep the neighborhoods impoverished, and then the neighborhoods, because the neighborhoods impoverished, the schools poor. You're not paying the teachers to deal with the kids who have the behavior issues. There's nothing wrong with them. You just got to be able to deal with them. You got to learn how to deal with our kids differently. Our kids aren't the same as everybody else's kids. But because the neighborhood's impoverished, the parents probably uneducated, so they probably don't have a good job. Ain't no good jobs in the city. I'm sorry, there aren't any good jobs in the city. And for the city, for the jobs there's no good transportation to get them out of the city to the suburbs to get those good jobs.
And what job is really going to be like, I'm going to set my wages to a point where they can leave and be better than this job? Why would I want that as an employer?
Or train them. You know what I mean?
I want you to keep coming back.
Right, that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to keep you here at $12 an hour, but you got 3-4 kids at home that you got to take care of. Yeah. Like, that don't work. So, I mean,
crappy insurance and then all that.
Facts.
Fall into the money pit.
And people have to understand this, too. Like, the funny thing about, like, politics is they get, like, non-white people on their bandwagon by making it seem like we're less than. But they're in the same boat. The people who are mostly taking advantage of public benefits is white people. Because they're the majority still, right? So it's not just affecting people of color. It's affecting everybody, but they don't see it that way. So they're like, keep on doing it, keep on doing it, keep on doing things the way they're being done. You know what I mean? To keep those people down. And then, like I said, you got the new Jim Crow. You had slavery, then you had sharecropping, then you had, they started the prison thing, free labor. So now, today, prisons are big business, and prisons are populated with mostly what? People of color. So it's like people have to really come to a revelation that we are so far gone from what we used to be. If we can get back to that, and be that village, then reach out, and band with our people outside of our own race. Like, we could really get rid of these idiots out here who are now blatantly, again, committing acts based on race. Like, I'm a CCW carrier. I'm not comfortable not having my weapon anymore, y'all. Because people are out here being real live vigilantes, and because of thanks to sucker George Zimmerman, they think they can get away with that. And then you got these goofballs up here in Ohio trying to pass a stand your ground law. Like, really? Really? I just had a man flip me off and yell at me. white dude, for no reason. No reason. I was amazed. I was like, what did I do to you but other than drive past you on the highway? Like,
you might have sent him off and you just ain't recognize
like,
him.
What? No, I seen him because he was hard to miss. He was in a 3-wheeler little, I don't know what those things are called, but it's like a 1-wheel in the back, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And we're just riding down Coleraine Avenue. And I'm watching him because I'm like, he's kind of zipping in and out, like, let me make sure he got room or whatever. We get to the bottom of Coleraine, and all of a sudden, like, I think I had, like, sped past him because I'm trying to get downtown. Like, I'm trying to get to 800 Broadway, handle my business, and get home, okay? So, like, I'm driving past them. We get on the ramp. Next thing I know, he's, like, beeping and honking at me, and I'm like, what is his issue? Like, what is this? I mean, the fact that I did not cut you off, I did not get in your lane, anything like that. Like, I'm like, what? And then you want to flip me off and almost follow me. Until I decided
he should have followed you.
I wanted him to follow me. I wish he would have followed me.
But since we on the issue of traffic, I know you have some questions that you wanted to ask about traffic laws, what to do when you get into certain jams.
Like certain mistakes that you know that people make once, like in a traffic stop or it gets beyond that, and you in they take you to jail and they start the questioning process. Right. What are a lot of common mistakes that people?
Let's start at the car. But, can you give us some? All right, you driving at night. Next thing you know, whoop whoop. You see them blue and reds. What do?
Man, as soon as you see them get behind you, as soon as you see those lights flashing, get your ID out, get your registration out, put them in your hands and put them on. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Just keep them there. Like, just put the car in park and just leave them there. They come up, license, registration. See, and shout out to Candace Tolbert. She's a founder of Super Seeds Foundation, which is an organization that's actively working to break the school-to-prison pipeline. It's kind of a diversion group for juvenile court. So I can talk about that later. But, you know, she was telling the story of how she instructed her son, like, just be polite. Just people like, you know, sometimes some things are some BS, but sometimes they're not. You know what I mean? Like I said, all police aren't bad. So for whatever the reason is, they pulled you over. Okay, they pulled you over. Be polite, man. Don't be, even if they're being an asshole, just let them be an asshole, man. Because more than likely it's being recorded. And by the way, for anybody who has iPhone, you can say, I don't want it to activate, but hey, Siri, I'm being pulled over. And if you're not for sure if that app is active on your phone, just test it out. But you can say that, and Siri will automatically start recording, and it can't be tampered with. By the way, if you do have any recordings on your phone, officers are not permitted to go into your phone, unlock your phone, unless you give them permission or they have a warrant. So let me just say that. But so officer comes up, be polite, cooperate. They tell them get out the car, don't argue, just do what they say. My advice, particularly to the young people, because, you know, young people are extra rowdy. You know, they're like, what do you do? You know, they're going off. And I'm like... You
didn't watch the YouTube video?
No, I watched evidence for trial, and my kid is going crazy. And I'm like, dude, you got to chill. Like, or young lady, please, you got to chill out. Like, oh, my God. Like, I had a young lady who, her mom was getting arrested. She ran up and stole on the police. I said, Jesus, be offense. Terrible. You know, it's like, you got to understand, like, you can't do that. Yeah, like, you just can't do that. And once you assault an officer, that's not only a charge, but that is easy grounds for them to take you out. You know, because the federal law is set up in such a way that it protects them in these instances. So just cooperate, you know, but understand this. All you have to do by law is give your ID. If you might have been drinking and driving, or you might have smoked one and driving whatever, any substance you on, just shut your mouth. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is they get to talking. You know, and if their questions have any inkling of this is a part of an investigation, I think you might have done something or whatever, they're not going to say that. But if you're starting to like feel like I'm being interrogated, you know, especially if you feel like you can't leave, you know, if you're not free to leave, evoke your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney, evoke your Fifth Amendment right to be quiet. Because just like they say in the Miranda warnings, anything you say can be used against you in the court of law, and that's facts. So if you sat there and said, well, I had 2 beers, like, dude, you talking too much.
Right.
Any OVI attorney will probably tell you, like, I want you to shut up at this point and say, just take me to jail. Just take me to jail, especially if you smell liquor or whatever. People get to talking about what they, or, you know, one of my biggest issues, because I think adults generally understand Miranda rights, like you have the right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney. They typically go, I want to talk to my lawyer. Juveniles, on the other hand, don't. Especially juveniles who might have a delay, or just some type of learning disability, or but generally speaking, juveniles, even if you're a perfectly normal, no behavioral issues, no cognitive delays, juveniles don't have a fully developed brain, so they don't have their fully logic and reasoning developed. So even though an officer will go through that whole gamut of what you have the right to, the next thing the officer's going to say is, okay, why were you here tonight? Or what did you see? Or who has the gun? Or who shot them? Or who has the phone? Or who has whatever? And then they just get to talking. So it's like, adults, educate yourselves. Be quiet. Say, I want to talk to my attorney. I want to talk to a lawyer. You know, and at that point, all questioning should stop. Okay? Teach your kids. I want my parent and I want my lawyer. Because asking for a parent is not going to stop an officer from questioning, or a detective from questioning a child, a juvenile. Asking for an attorney should. But see, people get this messed up. They think that once they've been Mirandized, that that just ends the whole thing. But now you're taking your ride down to 2020 or down to the JC or Butler County, depending on the level of your offense. And the officers just making small talk.
Right.
They can do that, right? Because they're not investigating. Tricky, because they might say something they know is going to elicit some sort of response as to what they're investigating.
Yeah.
And now you've broken your own right to remain silent, and they can use that information against you. So it's just like, don't even have small talk. Like, what do y'all have to talk about? This person is arresting you.
Right.
He's taking you to some facility to be held until you either get released on your own recognizance, meaning I trust you to be out in court when you're supposed to come to court, or on a bond, you know. That's the number one. Please be quiet. Please be quiet and wait until your lawyer comes.
And you say you should get out the car if they tell you to, because I saw some places where it said, like, you can really just roll down your window a little bit and show them through the window. And
if they order you out the car, get out the car. If you're walking down the street, if you're on Fountain Square and an officer orders you to the ground, get to the ground. Like, there's just no sense in, and this is what I tell a lot of my kids, my clients, there's no sense in arguing with the officer. Let your lawyer handle that. Let your lawyer deal with the fact that they might have broken protocol. They might have broken, or they might have searched you. That's another thing. So, you have a right to be protected, or you have a right not to be subject to unreasonable search and seizures. So if you're in a car, okay, you don't have a whole lot of reasonable expectations of privacy. So that's why people were like, they didn't have no warrant when they searched my car. Well, when they smelled that weed, or when they saw that your car could have possibly been stolen, or whatever the heck, whatever reasonable, articulable fact that they think they have to go into your car, they can do that, okay? When it comes, and if you are being arrested, you can be searched incident to arrest. If you are on the street, they have something what's called a Terry stop. Terry v. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible. Don't judge me out there, fellow lawyers. But there's a case called Terry, and an officer is permitted, if they think that a crime is afoot and you have some sort of suspicious bulge on you, they can pat you down and go into your pockets. Okay, so people say, well, they didn't have a warrant to pat me down. Well, you know, they can almost make up some stuff sometimes. You fit the description of somebody that just robbed that store down the street, you know, and there's a suspicious bulge in your pants. I think that might have been the gun that was used in the commission of the crime.
Cop might be hitting on you.
Cop might be hitting on you. You never know.
Suspicious. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that on the station.
But, I mean, there's a lot of things, like, people consent to searches, and I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, say a police officer shows up on your door or something like that, and they have no warrant. They're like, can we search your house? No, you cannot. You know what I mean? But sometimes parents, the officers say, well, we know your child did this, that, and the third. They don't have a warrant. And they let the guy go in. Well, can we search? No, you can't. You can't even come in. Where's your warrant?
Yeah.
You know, and also warrants for arrest are not warrants to search homes. Like I can go on all day, y'all. Like there's just so many things that, you know, people.
Well, drop that jewel then, since you was already on that.
So when you have a warrant for arrest, the police can only go in and search for the person. Okay? If they get to rumbling through stuff where you can see clearly there's no person that can fit in there or whatever, like they're starting to violate their own warrant. Okay? Now, the exception to that rule is whatever's in plain view. So say, for example, Johnny is up in the house and detectives come, we have a warrant for Johnny's arrest. Maybe search premises for him. Well, we're coming to look for him. We coming in. They can do that. They can come in and look for him. But Johnny has a scale and some illegal substances on the table. The police can confiscate that under the plain view doctrine. So whatever's in plain view, the police can confiscate, even if the warrant is just for a person, arrest of a person. Right. Now, a search warrant, forget about it. Your house is getting torn up. Torn apart, and there's nothing you can do about that. But do ask for to see the warrant, read it, and do see if you can get a copy of it. Usually they come with a copy of it for you to, you know, they give it to you, let you read, things like that. But under no circumstances let an officer search your home, or, you know, if you can help it, search you without, you know, the proper paperwork.
Yeah, I had that situation happen some years ago. I had just put the kids had just left, got on the bus, went to school, and I go to lay back down, and probably within less than 5 minutes, that means the police will have the what you call them, it was the sheriffs, it was the what's the other type of
a task force?
Not a task force, but
not Renu. Oh Lord.
I think of it probably while I'm telling the story, but I lay down, and I almost had it. That it ain't
was the FBI?
Nah.
DEA?
No. Bo.
ATF?
I'm like, who the big on the door? I know, you know, I ain't
no security.
You know, they want to come and check they come and check the gas or something like that. I'm thinking I'm about to tell this mother. Yeah. So I come up the steps, and I'm seeing a bunch of people. I'm like, what the? Like, who is that? And I'm in my drawers or whatever. I was like, so I stopped. And they looking like, I see you. I can see you. Come open this door. Something like that, right? So I'm like, what the? So as I get up, I see that it's a bunch of different whatever type of officers they were.
Fuzz.
Everybody
Everybody
got guns out. Everybody is like that, right? So I go like this. I just pull the blind. And the dude said, open it up, let us in. And he said, are you such and such and such and such, right? And I was like, no. And obviously I'm not. They know the person they're looking for was Caucasian. So they know it's not me. So now they kind of like, wait a minute, well, who is this? So I'm just like, but they looking at me like, this dude is like, hasn't opened this door yet. But I wasn't being combative. Yeah. I'm just acting like I'm trying to come to my senses because I was asleep.
Right.
But I'm really just surveying like what the like, and then I'm trying to like what is going on.
Yeah.
But when they said they was looking for the dude they was looking for, then I was just like you said, we're coming in. Then I realized they was coming through the back.
Yeah.
So you know you got the sliding doors in the kitchen. You come in through the back.
Yeah.
I was like, click, open the door. And my thing with the dude who was talking first, he was like speaking in a way that he didn't need to be speaking.
Just really aggressive.
Like
he was already mad you ain't respect his life.
So then I was looking at him like, what's going on, sir? I just like look away from him and talk to the other guy who's
calmer.
Yeah. Calmer. we looking for is he? I said it's a possibility that he could be here because he does be here. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Go that way.
That way to the left. That way and to the left. And he was in there, and they took him up out of there.
Well, I'm glad you did that because I mean, especially if it's feds. But understand this too: even if they don't have a warrant and they proceed to do what they do, just let them do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You just make your protest known. I don't agree to this search that they're going to make y'all sit down on the floor or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to do what they do. Let your lawyer handle that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to trigger what's called a motion to suppress and whatever evidence they claim that they're getting as a result of this illegal search that they're executing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever try to fight the police on anything, even when they're wrong. You know, the only thing that you can control is what you say. So my thing is just shut it, because police use this technique called the Reed technique. I went to a training. Is the most ridiculous pseudoscience BS I've ever experienced in my life. Like stuff like saying "No, I am not" is a trigger, and you're lying. And I was like, "This is crap. Like this is complete crap." But they use this technique, and then people don't know that police are permitted to lie to you.
Right.
And police are permitted to lie to juveniles. Police go up to kids' schools and question them without their parent knowing, and they're allowed to in the state of Ohio. Juveniles are allowed to be questioned without a parent or guardian in the state of Ohio. So it's just like I said, the best thing that you could do, even in the midst of the officers violating your rights, is just be quiet. Tell them, I want my lawyer. You know, I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I want my lawyer, period. Because they're going to keep trying to ask you questions sometimes, and they're supposed to stop. By law, they're supposed to stop talking to you. But, you know, there's some officers that just don't believe in following rules. So
that's why I got this job, so I can not follow the rules.
Exactly.
People used to punch me in high school. I didn't like it.
Exactly.
Oh man,
Right. See,
I know a lot of police officers that went to my high school. They got their butts whooped back in the day, and they think they
Barney
Billy
Fife
badass,
looking.
What about putting a lien on a cop's badge?
I didn't know you could do that. Well, what you can do is there's a few things you can do when it comes to police officers violating, you know, their own policies and procedures or violating law. One thing is you can file a report against that police officer, and that information is available to anybody under the public records request. It's public record. Anything that an officer had been written up for, anything like that, that's all public record. So if you're trying to make a case that this is a bad cop, you know what I mean, you file your complaint with the appropriate, depending on what the precinct is, CPD, Mount Healthy, Forest Park, whatever. And then, you know, if they blatantly violated your constitutional rights, it's something called a 1982 claim that you want to go and get with a civil rights attorney with and consult with them and, you know, go from there and file that claim, you know, because that's a suit against the state. Okay. So it's like, again, and people just, some people think police can just do what they want. You know, when we're talking about this unnecessary killing of people of color, you know, it does look that way because the law is set up such a way. But let me say this. That's where our civic engagement is very important, because we elect the people that sit in Congress, in both the House and the Senate. We elect the people that sit in the state House and the state Senate. If we're not voting, then we got whoever going out there and not giving a dang on about the fact that the law is protecting bad actors in law enforcement. You know, people are just justice for them. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all expected. And then when you got this idiot up here in the dang on executive seat federally, Cheeto, this dude, like, he's such a clown. I can say that. I can't talk about judges, but I can talk about him.
What happens if you talk about judges?
Oh, it's an ethical violation. We're not allowed to say anything disparaging about the court or judges.
So can you even speak on Tracy Hunter?
I could speak on it because she's no longer a judge, but what boils down to, the situation boils down to, once again, people not exercising their civic engagement and their civic right to vote. We had 2 opportunities to get Joe Dieters out of office. Joe Dieters could have chosen not to prosecute her. You know, see, I just had to catch myself because I was about to say something that got me in trouble.
And then he tried to pull it back, though. Now that
he's trying to save face. He's trying to save face because it's an election year. It's an election year, so he's another attorney, so I can say whatever I want about him.
So we can get Dieters out this year.
Vote Gabriel Davis. I think it's Gabriel Davis. I'll look up the information, y'all.
Because his name is linked with a lot of things that happen in the city.
Who? Dieters?
Dieters.
Man, Dieters is some stuff, man. Yeah, like people. It's amazing to me. Like 2 people ran and did not win. Janaea Trotter Bratton ran against Dieters some years ago, and Alan Triggs ran against Dieters a few years ago. We had 2 opportunities for 2 qualified people to take that office over and make it what it should be. Mm-hmm. Truly seeking justice and not this foolery and not, pushing just madness. You know what I mean? Like I said, he could have chosen not to prosecute her, but they had their underwear so much in a twist and a bunch that she rightfully won the election. Mm-hmm. Okay. They sued, she had to fight it out in court for a whole year after she got elected. And then she because she got seated after the sitting judge, right, the administrative judge, she was supposed to be the administrative judge, the person who the policies have to come from. Mm-hmm. So because of all of that, that's what happened. Because of this machine in the city that doesn't want to see certain people, whatever. And that's why I'm saying, like, voting is so important and people don't understand, like, why do I care about the prosecutor? Because the prosecutor is the person who chooses to file the complaint with the court. The prosecutor chooses to decide whether they want to give you a deal or not. Okay? The prosecutor chooses to decide what they want to stay, stuck on and what they want to just dismiss. If they want to plead out, all that comes from the chief prosecutor, who is currently Joe Dieters. But if y'all go to Gabriel Davis has a page, I know, but just Google Gabriel Davis, and also go on Facebook. He's got a page on Facebook, but he's slated to run against Dieters. I've met this young man. He's he's very intelligent, phenomenal speaker. He worked with Obama. Like, he worked in DC under Obama. He's a good guy, and I think he's the kind of guy that appeals to all sides. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not saying vote Gabe Davis because he's black, because I give 2 craps what color you are. I just want to know, and I honestly, I'm going to get in trouble about this probably one day, but I don't care what party line you're with. Mm-hmm. I care about whether you are good for the job. Mm-hmm. I believe Gabriel's a Democrat, though. I'm a leaning Democrat. But while I'm on that tip, vote Erica Underwood, vote Carrie Bloom.
And these are other prosecutors?
These are other Erica Underwood is a public defender. She's a common pleas public defender. Mm-hmm. Bomb. Like, she's one of the best felony attorneys in this city, y'all. No BS. No BS. Vote Erica Underwood. Vote Carrie Bloom. I know she's running for municipal court judge. There's a few. I don't know all the judges that are running for common pleas just yet, but I just encourage everybody to do that research. Go on to the League of Women Voters website. Look at the candidates. Like, people ignore the judicial races, but then they get all upset when somebody like a Ray Tensing gets away with murder. Literally. You get mad, people get mad about a Tracy Hunter getting sentenced to jail when she didn't have to. But did you vote? Did you vote in that election where, a sitting judge, a presiding judge, is making a decision that you're not happy about? Did you vote in that election, though? Right. And the problem is, because judges are not allowed to run on party lines, people just like, oh, whatever. It's whatever. But it's like, these are the people that are holding people's lives in their hand. These are the people that's setting either a good bond or a ridiculous bond. Like, somebody has set a bond, $1 million. This person had first contacts with court, just possession charges, but because of who they were with, this judge set $1 million bond. First contact with the court. Wow. Because that judge could. So it's like, people are like, well, the judicial system's messed up. No, our community's messed up. We're not doing our part. Yeah.
Accountability again. It keep popping up. Yeah. You're gonna have to look at yourself eventually if you're trying to change for the better. Right. Do you see it skewed by race from your position too?
Man, it's always skewed by race. Yeah, I mean, it is. And then, you know what? I'm going to be real about it. Like I could be anything else, but it's racism against ourselves. Like, we were talking about the community earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how we used to be cohesive. We were talking about the black dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people hollering, spend black dollars at black businesses. But then it seemed like too many times black businesses ain't doing good business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we mistreat each other, then we mistreat our customers, we could mistreat our clients. Like,
when you're mistreating yourself, you really gonna mistreat everything you come in contact with, and it's a self-love and
yourself.
accountability thing. Like,
Facts.
because once you point the mirror at yourself, you really can see, like, treat other people the way you want to be treated. Like, it's certain little things that just poke out like that, and you learn them, and then those phrases make sense all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a self-love thing.
Facts. And I think us as a community, we don't love ourselves. But you know why? Because
We see our
the system has made it so that we look at ourselves like we're less than.
Mm-hmm.
Black people who don't, dark skinned black people who just hate that they dark skin, or being, because we are so disenfranchised, some of us feel like, well, if I just run with them on their side, they'll accept me. But it's like, no, at some point in time, they're gonna remind you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter. Like, so you've got to love yourself, realize black is beautiful in whatever shade. Like, and that's not to say that non-black is not beautiful. I'm just pro-black. You know what I mean? I love everybody. I took the implicit bias test. I'm not biased towards anybody racially, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I do love black people because I'm black.
Right.
What's this test?
And the implicit bias test. So this is one thing that I wish law enforcement, judges, prosecutors, and attorneys, all attorneys, anybody has anything, school teachers, school administrators, anybody who touches someone's life and can affect someone's life positively or negatively should take an implicit bias test. And I think law enforcement, judges in particular, should be required to take that.
Right.
Because, and it's not just, it's a Harvard test. So if you just Google implicit bias Harvard, there's a few different tests. It's like race, it's color, tone, Asian, gender, LGBTQ, like, find out your implicit biases. And if people who don't know what implicit bias is, it's something that is subconscious. It's not purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, it's the police officer who really does like everybody, but because of whatever he saw or she saw on social media or the media or whatever they see, is they believe that's what black people are. So supposedly we're supposed to be very violent. We're inherently violent people. We're incapable of being rehabilitated. Like, that is the mindset, right? That's the message is put out.
But you got to think about where that came from. That come from
the government.
It comes from slapping somebody's great grandmother, and then they never slap you back. You're like, they gotta be violent. I know they feel I'm gonna get slapped eventually. It come from a scared state of mind. It's just really like, I did so much to these people that at some time I'm scared that they ain't done nothing by now.
It's that. I think it's twofold. It could be that, but it also is the fact that because we're so violent within our own community, they act like we're gonna be violent towards them too. Like,
I feel like we just see ourselves through the scope of white people.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's marketed to us. If you put something in your brain every day, your brain is going to start thinking it's the truth.
Yep.
So everything that we see on TV is a marketing and a call to action.
Exactly.
Everything is being promoted to us.
If you got to tell your child, hey, don't be in here acting a fool in front of these white folks, that's a problem.
From a young age, now you already put white people at a certain somewhere in the subconscious. So all these things, that's the problem.
I like that. That is so true. That is so true.
Man, it's such a
it's like a programming.
It is a program. Our minds are computers. So if you got that program constantly running, each year you hear new stuff. So the update is stronger and it's magnified.
Right.
It's passed through generations. They say trauma can be passed through DNA now.
It is. I can say the word wrong all the time. It's like epidology or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they were saying, like, not just trauma, but behaviors. Yeah. You know, of course, mental health, things like that. But you can reprogram that. Like, as a baby growing up, that parent, that guardian, that family can just reprogram them. Like, yeah, this was what mom or dad did, or this is what grandma or grandpa. but you don't have to be that. I'm going to give you positive reinforcement to show you, because one thing that blew my mind when I first started working in juvenile court was the officers and the probation officers and the judges and the magistrates were like, oh, their parents been through here, their grandparents been through here. Like, I know 3 generations, they all been in trouble. I'm like, wow, this really is generational.
That's what you see.
It's crazy. Like, and it made me sad. Like, it kind of depressed me for a little bit because, you know, in juvenile court, I see mostly black kids in trouble. You know what I mean? So it was just like, and when I remember there was one kid, he had got in trouble. He had got charged with a felony in the 5th degree, assault on a teacher. And he just knew his life was over. Never been in trouble before. Big kid, too. Like, big kid, but like a gentle giant. And come to find out in the end, the teacher was messing with him. Like, the teacher, like, did something to him. And so the kid patted him on the top of his head because he was bald. But it was, like, out of play. And so, and the teacher got ripped a new one by the magistrate when that came out. But I asked this young man, I said, why aren't you going to school? I said, all I need you to do is just keep going to school. Keep showing them that you are what this paper says. This rap sheet has nothing on it.
Hold up. That was the assault charge?
Yeah.
Him patting him on his head?
Yeah. Isn't that something? Ain't that something? But thank God it got dismissed. I mean, we got it dismissed. And in mitigation, I don't know what I asked, but somehow it got the teacher to admit that. And I was like, see? And I looked at the magistrate like, see? But in the meanwhile, while we're waiting for trial, the kid's not going to school anymore. He thinks his life is over.
Why would he want to go back there?
I mean, even if he was, I think it was A to S at this point. So it was like not the same classroom. He had to go to alternative to suspension. And I said, you got to go because this is going to, you know, we got to make sure you look like who you are. Okay? And he was like, no, because I'm this. And next thing he said to me, we were about to go to trial, and it ended up getting, like I said, dismissed. Before we went, he said to me, I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I always take this as an opportunity to figure out the kids, see if I can put them in the right direction or keep them on the right track. And he said, nothing. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, some people are meant to be successful, and some people are just not. I'm just a nigga. 15 years old. Like, I BS you not. Like, I held it together right then and there, but I went in the back in the office and I just cried because that broke my heart. Like, this young man who never been in trouble before, actually a decent student, probably has all kinds of things available to him to do. And the way he saw his life and what he saw around him, he wasn't worth doing anything better than that. And he equated that to the N-word, which is what, that's what they program us to believe. Yeah. When truth be told, that doesn't see, it's not about color when we talking about the N-word.
It's a mindset. It's a
lifestyle.
Absolutely.
I know some people who ain't black who are just the same.
That's crazy. But that was his bottom of the barrel.
That was it.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
I mean, he had some other issues going on, too. His parents weren't raising him. His aunt was raising. You know, a lot of these kids, they have a lot going on in the background. And I think it's important, anybody who's dealing with juveniles is to be culturally competent when dealing with them, you know, so.
All right, man. It's some weird laws in Ohio, man. Can you explain some of this stuff for me?
I'll try.
It is illegal to fish for whales on Sunday in Ohio, man. Did you know that?
How do we have whales in Ohio? Like, Geauga Lake is closed. Like, it's been closed forever.
Where does stuff like this come from?
Hey, okay, so this is what happened, right? So I took a legislative history class. Thank God. I might actually be able to answer this question. I took a legislative history class. I know the answer. Go ahead.
It's only on Sunday.
The way that I have no idea, dude. I have no idea what the legislative intent was behind not fishing for whales on Sunday. Like, I don't get it, because at the same, where is there an ocean? Right. And we going to Geauga Lake to fish for shamu? Like, I'm confused. Right. But our laws started off really based on the Bible. When the colonizers came over here, it was based on the Bible. So, like, you were allowed to, like, stone your kid and stuff like that in the 1600s. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy. Like, some crazy punishments back then. There's still a lot of laws on the books in all states. They're still on the books, but they're not enforced. And so, like, no fishing for whales on a Sunday when there's no freaking whales in Ohio that I know of.
What's the craziest law that you've seen being a lawyer?
The craziest law? I don't know if I can say craziest, because it's like the laws typically make sense. Okay, the craziest law that I've ever heard of, it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people now because it affects the LGBTQ community. But back in the day, back in the day when, you know, people were actively like coming after, you know, LGBTQ people in Texas. It was a male couple, minding their own business in their home. Police came in, arrested them because sodomy is illegal in Texas. I think it's still illegal. They might have just repealed that. I can't remember. But it's like, so you're worried about what this man does with his private parts with another man. Why? Again? Like, why is that a law? But again, the laws in the United States for the longest, or where, you know, whatever they were, the Confederacy and the, you know, whatever back in the day, it was all based on Bible.
Yeah.
So sodomy is, or homosexuality is forbidden by Christianity, and so on and so forth. And so I think that was like one of the craziest. Oh, you know what? Actually, no, I do have an answer to that question. Stand your ground. Stand your ground is the most ridiculous law. Oh yeah, and this whole reproduction rights thing.
That's wild. That's wild.
It pisses me off. Like I don't understand. What does stand your ground doesn't make sense to me for obvious reasons.
Gotta go over stand your ground for people who don't know.
So if stand your ground, and I have to look again and see if that actually was passed in Ohio, because I know there's a lot of debate about it. But stand your ground is how Trayvon Martin's murderer got free. Clearly, Trayvon Martin was half George Zimmerman's size, posed no deadly threat to him, had no weapon, but yet and still, this man was exonerated of murdering Trayvon Martin. Rest in heaven, rest in power, Trayvon Martin. And so that's basically it. If you perceive a threat, it's kind of the same thing as the police. All they have to do is perceive a serious threat, and they can kill someone.
Have you ever seen it work for a black person?
Never. And you know good and dang on well if it really is passing in Ohio, you know that's not gonna work for us.
I saw a guy today, and I don't live in Ohio, but I was in Kentucky.
The laws in your state is crazy. Go
right.
ahead.
But, you know,
don't do nothing in Kentucky.
Pond away, man. It's a whole different world.
Hey.
But you got to remember where that place was.
It's south. It's the South. Yeah.
Man.
I'm going to Kroger, and I get out of my car. I'm walking towards one of the entrances, and there's a guy that's kind of going across, coming from my left, going across to the right to his car. I got no sunglasses, so he doesn't know if I'm looking at him or not. But he got his gun in his holster. It's wrapped from his waist, and then he got it strapped to his leg like the old cowboy thing. And he's walking like
he was scared,
like
walking
like John Wayne.
I wish somebody would say something. It's like one of those things where you know somebody wants some attention.
Yeah.
And I'm just walking, looking straight ahead, and in my mind I'm like, man, first of all, you got it in the holster, and it's you got the clip over it, to keep it safe, and not fall out. I'll take the gun from you before you can get, because he's walking. The way he's walking, it just make you want to just take the gun and smack him with it. Like, you ain't
not
about
even
to do nothing. Go on somewhere.
Wait, is Kentucky?
Empty the clip and give him a gun. Go on some daggone where.
Is Kentucky an open carry?
Yeah.
I know Georgia was. I was amazed. I went into Marshall's in Atlanta. And this dude just walked in with his Glock on his hip. I was amazed, and I was happy though. I was like, "Wait, it's an open carry state here?" It's like, yeah. I was like, look like, where are you from? Ohio.
I'm starting to see it a lot.
Ohio.
They changed it. They changed something else in Kentucky recently, or either they have or it's coming, to where you don't even have to have a concealed weapon license.
A license?
Mm-hmm.
It's about to be battle royale, man.
Let's go back to the
Well, you know what? I have a theory about that though. Like, think about the states that have concealed carry laws or open carry laws. Think about the level of violence in those areas. Illinois you can't carry a gun at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at the level of violence. Mm-hmm. My theory is, and me and
it's like with a kid. Tell them what you don't want to do, they're going to do it anyway.
Well, that too.
Like almost the
right?
same thing.
Yeah.
Right, like, oh, you can't do this. You know what I mean? They act like, well, if you outlaw guns, they're not going to have them. Clearly, they will.
Mm-hmm.
And then
especially when you drop them off there.
Thank you. That was my next point.
And
You
big
get out
barrels.
my head, man.
Like, it be happening, man.
But yeah, so I just have this theory that when you know somebody just might have it on them too, and you know they might be a Doc Holliday, you know they might be able to draw faster than you can.
Right.
You not gonna try them.
Right.
Yeah.
So then there goes the decrease in violence. That's my theory, you know, because I'm comparing that to Chicago, you know, Illinois, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. Like it's got the highest level of shootings and murders in the country.
Yeah.
Why? I wonder why. I wonder why. But the other law that I think is the most ridiculous thing in the world, and I want to slap the dog out of every politician who is pushing this BS, is this reproductive pro-choice. Look, I think pro-choice is being able to choose whether or not you want to have that baby.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing. This is what people don't, you know, these folks. I went off on a candidate last year too. Went clean off on him. I had to excuse myself because I was about to really like cuss him out. He had made a comment about the Trump accusers, and then he said the Christianity says that you can't have, you know, God doesn't want you to abort your baby. I said, are you God? I said, are you a Christian? He said, yes. I said, so you remember the scripture says, judge not lest ye be judged? He was like, well, yeah. I said, what does a person, I said, have you ever been impoverished? Or have you just ever been intimate with somebody and your birth control fails?
Right.
Or have you ever been raped?
Right.
Molested? No, you haven't? I said, so how do you have the unmitigated gall to tell a woman she's got to have a baby? I said, especially for people who are in a financial situation to where they can't take, well, they shouldn't be having sex. I said, well, can you control that? No, you cannot. So you're sitting here telling me that women should be forced to have a baby, which got nothing to do with you, but then you want to sit there and hoot and holler about how strained the public welfare system is, or how population is out of control, and all this other stuff. If you get out of people's bedrooms and mind their business and get out of somebody's uterus,
get out of their uterus.
I mean, or get one for yourself. If you're so concerned about it, get yourself a uterus. But like, back off. This is not a political topic,
Right.
like at all.
But so, what if they did make that law? Like instead of the abortion law, you had to have $10,000 in cash that you could put into account. Because it take money to have a kid. What if they did something like that?
Yeah, I feel like that's still unconstitutional. Like, and the laws that some of these states are passing are in fact unconstitutional under Roe v. Wade at this point. So, you know,
what kind of hurt do you think it put on our community when people don't have a way to support their kid? Because you kind of you starting off with trauma.
right.
And what people like
Facts.
to avoid from a kid is trauma because it can take their learning in a different direction.
Man, like trauma has so much.
So what if we try to
PTSD has so
safeguard
much effect on a kid's neurology and their forming of their neurology in their brain. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody should make any decisions regarding someone's fertility or their reproduction if they don't have the money. You know, I feel like they need to be smarter about that stuff, you know. Yeah. But that's where the laws come in and just kind of, I don't know, like, how do you help a family but not allow it to become a crutch? I think that's where the turning point is on that. But to say, like, you got to have this much money or you can't get an abortion, you know, after 6 weeks when most women don't know they're pregnant for 8, you know, I just think it's just too much. I think, and then it's the same people that's hollering government's too big. Government's too big, government's too big, but you want to be all up in somebody's uterus. Make it make sense, man. Like, that's that. So you talk about most ridiculous laws, reproductive rights, and that Texas thing. That kind of had me chuckling in class. Like, why do y'all care about these people? What they do in their bedroom? Like,
right.
It's their bedroom.
It's my bedroom.
Right. Like, get out my house. I have a reasonable expectation of privacy in my house. If I'm not cooking coke, you know, got fentanyl up in this, making meth.
Right. What do you see the biggest change between rehabilitation of cocaine, crack, and the whole fentanyl heroin thing. How you feel about that?
I'm annoyed.
They trying to tell you to carry around the antidote. What's it called?
Man, Narcan.
Narcan, just so you might have to.
Yo, who chose to toot that stuff in your vein? That is your problem. I am not a doctor, okay? Because I feel like if I'm walking around with a can of Narcan and I see somebody tweaking out, like about to just complete OD on the street, like if I shoot that person with Narcan, I'm starting to take on a responsibility that I'm not prepared. If something goes wrong, that family can sue me. So no, I'm not carrying. Listen, state of Ohio, I'm not doing it. Okay, leave that to the medical professionals. But the biggest difference I see, like for one, let me just say this: I'm annoyed at the epidemic that comes behind this whole heroin thing. I'm annoyed that it's now an epidemic. I do understand that it's killing more people than ever, but I also feel like because it's killing people of the lighter hue, now it's a problem. Wasn't a problem in the 70s. Wasn't a problem in the 80s. Wasn't a problem in the 90s. Reagan decided he wanted to do this, and Nixon wanted to do that. Yeah. But now it's a problem. But I understand on the other side of the coin, I understand why it is a problem. It is a problem. I think it's a bigger epidemic.
It's a profit.
It's definitely a profit. But then on top of that, it does bug me that this whole like the level of how lethal fentanyl is. I'm just like, dang, man, like, come on. Yeah. Like you said, it's a profit. I don't condone that lifestyle in any way, shape, or form. But I'm like, dang, man, like, do y'all know, like, y'all out there that's cooking up this stuff with the fentanyl and everything, like, do y'all know states are about to try to pass laws to charge you with murder for somebody who ODs because it's fentanyl? Yeah. Like, y'all not thinking about that. You're thinking about your bottom dollar, but you're not thinking about that. Like, I would prefer for you not to be doing it in the first place, you know? So, but still, like, come on, like, where's the...
What else is coming down the line that we might be able to vote on, or what type of legislation is on its way that we might be able to stop, knowing that it is a year for us to vote? Our elections is coming up.
I haven't heard about any big laws that's like coming up on the ballot. However, there are a few movements going on. So the Cincinnati NAACP has been pushing a couple of petitions. One is the John Crawford law. Shout out to Nicole Taylor for drafting that. The John Crawford law, in a nutshell, is about ensuring that law enforcement has de-escalation training, things of that nature, so that they're not like shooting and not shooting to kill. Cultural competency training, implicit bias training.
I mean, how good is that though if a person already has an intent set? I don't like them. Yeah. Like, you can teach them anything you want. Right. And then it's taking our tax dollars to take it and use it to teach them that.
Right. I don't mind my tax dollars going to showing somebody who might not know that. Because implicit is, like I said, it's subconscious. Yeah. It's not explicit. Explicit is the people who are going out here killing black people or killing white people. Whatever. We don't kill white people, though. But, whoever you do, whatever you're doing and however you're doing it, when it's racially motivated or whatever the motivation is, like you're gay or you're whatever, like whatever your motivation is, that's explicit. Yeah. Implicit is like, oh, I didn't realize that person makes me fearful. I don't know that it makes me fearful. It just makes me fearful. You know what I mean? And what I love about doing the test is like that brings it to the forefront. So I don't mind my tax dollars going to that. But what I feel like if Ohio and every state took a serious look at something like that, it would bring about a better filtering process when you're bringing the guys into the academy and the girls into the academy. It would like cause them to take a hard look at their candidates. Like, okay, if you get the results of the test and it's like, oh wow, this person is implicit or this person is biased against people of color. This person is biased against LGBTQ. Or this person is biased against white people, or Asians or Hispanics or whatever. That's important, to
got to be know. All mixed cops. All cops got to be mixed.
Absolutely. And I also believe that the officers should be assigned a neighborhood. If they didn't grow up in it, then they need to be assigned to it, be married to it, be committed to it. Yeah. Because I'm sick of officers just I mean, and I get some of that's budget, but you know, officers we got to get back to that community policing that once was, where Officer Friendly can walk down the street and everybody knows who Officer Friendly is. And Officer Friendly's like, listen, I already know your mama and I know you ain't supposed to be out on these streets. So instead of taking him down to 2020, takes him home to his mama, like, listen, the next time I'm going to have to take him in, you know. But so the John Crawford law is one. Another one that the Cincinnati NAACP is pushing, again, shout out to Nicole for drafting this one, is the prosecutorial limits. So but these are things that are not on the ballot because, I mean, really, we just got to find out how to really spread this message to push our legislators to make these laws happen. Joe Dieters has been able to do what he's been able to do because he's been able to be a prosecutor for unlimited terms.
I don't remember who was before him.
I got a question.
I don't even know if I was in Cincinnati.
I don't know if it's a question. Well, I guess it's partly a question and also something that I've heard. Mm-hmm. So in the sense of reaching quotas, right? So, like you said, you're a lawyer, but in order for you to eat, somebody has to have been going through some type of something.
So
I always hear like on Tuesdays, watch out for the police. Whatever Tuesday of the month, I don't know.
You sure that wasn't Thursday. A Hot Boy song?
Right.
Tuesday, Thursday, you
won't find me.
But you know what I'm saying? If this is actual, I mean, you wouldn't know or not. If this is something that's actual, they have to reach a certain quota of pullovers, tickets, to justify maybe the amount of funding they might be getting from whatever state they're in, or if it's city or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're going to pull you over and more than likely give you that ticket, as opposed to giving you a warning and slow down next time, or don't be out this late. Like you said, I know your mom. You know you're supposed to be out that late. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you this ticket,
right?
Because I gotta have a certain amount of quota or whatever to justify, or I don't know, to get paid what I'm getting paid.
Right.
So it's kind of like a thing where it's a well-oiled machine, and then you have people. That's like people that work at like the gas and electric company or water company or whatever. All anybody would have to do to like totally be like, man, we ain't about this no more. Because we are all the things that happens to us, bills that we getting sent in the mail, we are doing it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. Even a police officer is a human being. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we always make it become like we make the man or the system be a situation, but you got few people running it, and then everything else that trickles down are the people that's carrying out the orders or executing the thing. So like you can have a conversation with the person on the phone about your water bill, and they're arguing with you like it's their water bill. Like this has nothing to do with you. Like why are you talking to me like you
cut my water off too out the way?
But we get programmed and we go we get sucked right into the process of a systematic situation that affects everybody. We kind of take on that shield of whatever particular field you in, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not somebody who's trying to do the right thing for their clients, right, and service justice in the best way that they can. It's people trying to stay on the side of the lawmakers, whether it's right or wrong. You know what I mean?
That's fact. I mean, as far as quotas go, I get a mixed response. Like some officers are like, no. I could tell you one thing for sure. Like, if we're talking about quotas, I don't know if quota is the right word for it, but those mayor's courts, oh yeah, all they want is the money. Like Norwood, Springdale, Springfield Township, like
small neighborhoods. They need
the small
need
Lincoln
the
Heights. You know, yeah, when they've got their little municipal court system, like little cities.
Mayberry.
Exactly. You know, they really want you to just come in and they just want you to pay your ticket. Like they're usually not looking for you to go to jail like that. Like everybody knows, at least in the legal community, we're like, come on, man, just pay the ticket. You know, just tell them, you know, I only got whatever.
Right.
But whenever I talk to law enforcement about like speeding tickets, things like that, like, no, we don't have a quota. You know, so I don't know what I got a lead foot, so I just have to use my cruise control. You know, but something I was kind of maybe correct me if I'm wrong, like we're kind of creating our own problems sometimes, you know, and I think that as a people, like, we don't realize, like, we can do something about this. Like, we really could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can put pressure on police chiefs to do better. You know, we can put pressure on our political people in various political seats to do better, because the threat is, and mind you, Cincinnati, Hamilton County is more than 50% black. So there's really not a reason why we shouldn't have people in positions who have everyone's best interest, particularly ours, you know, because we're the ones who experience, us black and brown people are experiencing a lot of the disenfranchisement. So it's like, there's really no reason why Gabe Davis can't win this election.
Because accountability. I mean, I got to do something.
Exactly.
And Maury is on.
Dude,
I ain't doing nothing.
And you know what, though? What else? A lot of people are really kind of living in their own ignorance.
It's comfortable there.
It is comfortable, but it's like you got a lot of people who are afraid to go and bring the knowledge to people. So there was a conversation we were having during a executive meeting once. I was an executive committee member of the Cincinnati NAACP and the legal redress chair. So I was in a lot of meetings every month. And somebody said, well, how come people aren't coming out to vote? I was like, because you're not giving a good reason to vote. You know, all they see is, like you said, you started off the whole session today with, I don't believe anything I see or hear. And I'm with you. I don't. Like, anything I see in the news, unless it is a direct quote, I always give it a grain of salt, because I'm just like, you know, why did we all believe that Bill Clinton was the first black president when Bill Clinton did things that hurt black people? Why did we believe that? Because that was the message that was put out.
They said Bill Clinton was the first black president?
You don't remember that whole...
the joke?
Yeah, that whole
I thought you
joke.
meant literally. I'm about to...
Because he smoked weed but didn't inhale, and because he plays the saxophone. But it's like, but people, nobody seemed to know, and I'll be honest, I didn't either, for a long time, know that the policies that he was creating was hurting people of color.
But that's how you mask it. Let me pacify you with some smooth jazz.
Yeah, and let's put this message out, because nobody's going to search for the truth, right? So a lot of people believe a lot of things about a lot of different, people in the limelight. But at the end of the day, it's like, did you do your own fact checking? Did you go and research and find out? Did you find out what that person really said? And if you can't find out what they really said, then I think that you should stay on the fence until you know one way or another, because that's how come we have fallen victim to a lot of stuff. And that's how come we don't love ourselves, because we've allowed society to tell us that we're less than.
But when you was a slave, it was illegal for you to read, because if you had that extra knowledge, you could do better for yourself and be like, hey, man, hey.
Right.
But you take the knowledge from people, you control they whole thing. You control the job they work at, which controls what they eat, where they live,
how much money they make, their kids' education, their education. Their willingness to get involved, their willingness to know, what's going on. Like, it's important for all of us to know who are our state representatives. Cedric Denson, Catherine Ingram, Bridget Kelly, and I think I'm missing one. I'm sorry for the person I'm missing, but these are people that I've met personally, and one person in particular I have a really good friendship with. These people are the people who are fighting for us at the State House. We got to get in touch with them, let them know what our concerns are, and I think to the best of their ability, or just let me just put this to all political positions. Just as much as, like, they should be out in the community talking to us, right? Talking to the people in the community. But we also have to be holding them responsible. And I'm not talking about those three in particular. I'm talking about across the board. Yeah. What were they running on? Okay, are they doing it? If you promise to make sure public schools are getting the funding that they're supposed to get versus it continue to be underfunded, even though that has been deemed unconstitutional at least 3 times by the Ohio State Court. Our public schools continue to get funded based on property value, y'all. And people wonder why, like, why don't they have books? Why don't they have this? Oh, you got a nice, pretty new building, but you don't have any new materials. Our kids are not learning. It's still a failing school. Why? Because nobody's putting pressure on the powers that be, the people who handle the purse strings. Give us the money that's allotted.
Yeah.
It's there.
Really?
It's there.
It's just not being spent.
It's just not being spent. But guess what?
Because of the neighborhood, because they think nobody else is invested in there.
Because nobody cares enough to put the pressure on them to let them know. But this is what I'm talking about not knowing. Mm-hmm. Like being in your own world. And I get it. When you have, mouths to feed, or when you're trying to take care of yourself, when you're trying to make sure you're not homeless yourself, when you're looking for a job, sometimes the pressures of life make it so much that you kind of put yourself in this cocoon. You're like, I don't give a damn what's going on the outside. I got to take care of me. Mm-hmm. But we got to get out of that, because guarantee you a few thousand other people going through the same thing you're going through. Yeah. And so if we would just get out of our cocoons, our mindsets, and really, like I said, collectively, things happen. Why? Because the March on March in Selma, the March on Washington, think about when things got changed. It wasn't because this person here was just doing one thing and nobody else was, it was because everybody knew what was going on and why it was going on, and everybody knew, like, we actually collectively have a power to change it.
What you think? What do you think will be the quickest mode to change right now? What should we? Because I think it's pulling the dollar back. Mm-hmm. What would you pull out of first?
I think pulling the dollar back is really important. We just have to have something to supplement that, right?
If a dude mess your haircut up, you're not going back to him.
Exactly.
But America slap you in the face. You be like, give me them Nikes, man. Stop
America. I found out America paid. What was it?
Say it.
Oh,
I think I know what you about to say, man.
America paid reparations, y'all, to
slave owners.
No, I know they play. Oh yeah, yes, I've been on that. They paid reparations to slave owners for losing their property, but
loss of wages.
But dig this, even more recently, they paid reparations, I think, to the Arthur. Do you know who? Who did they pay reparations recently to? Not recent, like last year, but like, was it Holocaust survivors or the Japanese concentration camp survivors? Paid reparations to them. Not to say that they didn't deserve it, because America was dead wrong for what they did. Yeah. But you mean to tell me that you paid reparations to slave owners, people who did inhumane things to other humans? You paid millions of dollars to them, and then decades later, you paid for a much shorter, still tragic situation with the Japanese concentration camps, but y'all don't have no money to give to people who were brought here involuntarily and are still here. Pay it to them in? It was like money. It was cash.
So like each citizen got,
like, if you were a direct victim, I'm gonna say, of the Japanese concentration camps, or you were a descendant, you got money. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna just say this, I did hear it on the media. Okay, so I haven't had an opportunity to like thoroughly fact check that, but I don't find that hard to believe at all. Yeah, Germany paid the folks the Jewish people who were victim to the Nazi camps. Germany apologized, so America can apologize to the Japanese. America can apologize to people who were dead wrong for owning humans in the first place, but you can't apologize to people who have consistently for centuries now been disenfranchised and mistreated across the board, constantly treated as substandard citizens. Don't give us our just due, because we invented a lot of this stuff. The country would not be, or the world would not operate the way it did in a lot of different ways if it weren't for us.
Because how would? But sometimes you look at these patents, it's like the name don't even match up with that. Why would you even? You don't do the required work to even know that it need to be improvement in this field right here. Like, right. We need more efficiency as like a cotton gin. Right. You don't pick cotton. How would you know?
What was it like?
But he did get it
exactly. Yep. That the polio vaccine. The filament to the light bulb. Yeah. I mean, we could go on. We could go on and on and on. The first open heart surgery.
Right.
Black man. Yeah. Like, come on, man. And like they, I swear, it's like on all fronts. They stole. The ancestors stole our identity, stripped us of knowledge, and then has done, in my opinion, everything they could possibly think of to try to keep us there. And then these nationalists have the unmitigated gall. These idiots, these fools have the nerve to say, go back to your country. Excuse me, I was born here. Okay, so this is my country.
First of all,
and I would go back if I knew where the hell I came from in the first place.
If you do that, but if you do, like you said, your due diligence and your history and all that, you go back. We the first ones here. Period. This whole effing planet is ours.
Boom.
But when you take because there was people of color here that was free. It was just some people that were slaves as well, though. So the people that you say are slaves, you take them, you strip them from whatever their original essence is, whatever their original spiritual beliefs, the original culture, nationality, all that stuff, and you call us black. But then you say black don't mean nothing, and it's written in your laws. You don't have to give us nothing,
right?
Because we're still going up under the term that we're black.
The law.
That's black. Your skin ain't black.
Right.
It ain't about your skin. It's about a status.
Yeah.
Right.
So if your status is that of black, you're not worth nothing. So they don't have to do anything. We'll never get no 40 acres and a mule being under that type of, still up under that notion and pushing. Like I said, we do our own selves in on so many different levels.
Oh yeah.
So if you still making it be about, like you said, I'm cool with any human being. You know what I'm saying? I don't see. So sometimes when people have been saying this stuff, like when people of color been saying I'm not black, I'm American, people be getting mad. like Raven Simone and different other people, we getting pissed because why? Because we've been programmed to hold on to that black.
Right.
No, this is us.
Right.
Let that black go.
You can't.
You gotta let that title go, because what we hold on to is still pigeonholed.
Kind of puts us in
You can't tell your workers how powerful they are. You can't be like, hey, M'Baku, you're such a great guy and you're so big and strong. Like, you can't tell them that. Our skin has melanin in it.
Right.
Melanin is worth more per gram than gold right now. Melanin is worth $400 per gram. You can't.
They selling melanin? I got that.
Come here.
But it's like organ harvesting.
Yeah.
I read somewhere, I think I'm pretty close on this. Melanin actually is like it's a conductor. We electromagnetic beings. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a conductor. So it makes your organs work better. So why,
stronger, faster?
You got all these kids killing each other in Chicago. I'm taking that liver and I'm putting it in Bob Stavitsky. Like,
yeah,
I'm taking this. Are we designed to just work better?
I had a movie that I was gonna do that I want to do. That's kind of dealing with that, because you know how when you I'll tell you off air, because somebody might take the idea.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, don't tell. But you know what? You made a good point though, because as much as I'm sitting here hooting and hollering about the system and disenfranchisement and all that other stuff, please understand this, people. We are doing a lot of stuff to ourselves.
Definitely.
We really are doing a lot to ourselves. It's like
accountability
again. Yeah, you've been saying, and I think that's
trending.
A theme. Like that should be a commonly occurring theme. Accountability. Stop looking at each other like we in competition with each other. We're not in competition with each other. Like, we continue to be divided, and that's how come we continue to fail.
Working in a competitive mindset make you lose anyway.
Right.
Because they say the grass is greener on the other side. But if you water your own grass, your grass will be green.
Right.
You spending so much time on the other side of the fence. Man,
but my aunt said something. My aunt Carla said something to me a long time ago. Always stuck with me. She was like, "The grass is always green on the other side because there's more manure over there." So the question is like, are you happy with the manure you got to deal with right here, or do you really want to climb over that fence? And you want to be a part of this clique over here, or this group over here. You want to be recognized for this over here, but at what stake? And personally, I learned a lot of things that people want to do, a lot of ways that people move, it doesn't fit me. Like, I made this long post on Facebook the other day how I just don't fit here. I don't. Because I'm not a follower.
Right.
I'm a person who likes to get other people's opinions just for the sake of helping me develop my own opinion. And and I like to speak in truth. I prefer to speak in truth. If I can't speak to you in truth, then I don't want to talk at all. I don't got nothing to talk about. And if you come to me asking me a question, you better be ready to hear what I have to say. You know, I'm going to say it out of love, but I'm speaking truth. And so, you know, I believe in collaboration. I believe in sharing resources. Like, I made this long post because I was like, in the past few years and me trying to figure out where I want to try to push more agendas. Oh, you said something about a law on the horizon. I really want to, I hope that this group that I'm working with, I hope that we can get some juvenile laws changed. I'm not going to say specifically what, because like you vibe, I don't want people just running with it. Yeah. But, you know, I'll just say this to the people. Start really looking into how our juvenile justice system works and how wrong it is for our kids. Like I said, they criminalize juvenile behavior. We got kids having to register as sex offenders for receiving a Snapchat of two teenagers having sex. Okay. And then mistakenly resending it to everybody. But even by resending it to the person who asked for it, who was in it, that's still child pornography pandering. And instead of looking at it through the eyes of a teenager, particularly maybe a 13, 14-year-old teenager, you know, they look at it as an adult doing it. And I'm like, but wait, whoa. So now potentially we have a kid that might have to register as a sex offender? You know, I don't know if this kid in particular had to, but I know that's on the table. You know what I mean? Because they don't really have any blurred lines or gray areas when we're talking about kids, teenage juveniles being naked or juveniles engaged in a sexual activity and it being disseminated. You know, the law is what it is, and it doesn't see age, which is unfair, I think, in a lot of ways. Because think about it: does a child really think? Does the child really understand, particularly a young teenager? Do they really understand the gravity of what they're looking at or sending? You know, they don't know that's pornographic. They don't know that they could, you know, that's a felony. They don't know that they could have to register as a sex offender as a teenager. Like, dude, really? You know, certain things like that. Like, now kids can get in a fight and it's an assault charge. It's not a school fight anymore. It's an assault charge. Like, an assault charge? I remember when I first started representing kids, and I had one kid that had it was like a robbery or maybe an ag robbery, beat up the kid and took his cell phone. Now, when we were younger, how many times did somebody get beat up and a bike get taken or something like that? Like, but these are kids doing things that kids do. So, you know, part of the reason, you know, we could say, well, the parents aren't parenting, you know, they're not going to get corrected when they get home or whatever like that. But I feel like you split hairs at that point. Juvenile justice reform is very necessary, just as much as criminal justice reform is very necessary. People have to start looking at children as children, because science proves that for most actions, the youth does not understand the gravity of what they're doing. We also have to take into consideration trauma, PTSD, things that they've gone through as a kid, because I think these kids are going through things I don't think that we really went through to this magnitude. You know, this is the different generation kids experiencing different things. So, you know, juvenile justice reform, I got on that tangent. I forgot what I was saying in the first place. But, I mean, that's very, very important.
Even Tracy Hunter, some of the things that she implemented in her courtroom became, like, widespread law, like the shackling of kids, things like that.
I practiced before Tracy Hunter, and let me say this. She was phenomenal for those kids. You know, she was a balance. She kind of, I would say she brought balance to the courthouse. And she wanted to see these kids do better. She didn't look at them as criminals, and I'm not saying that the other judges do. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, you have to have, I think when you're involved in juvenile court, or you're involved with juvenile, period. Let's take the court out of it. When you're involved in juveniles in any capacity, you've got to have that cultural competency. Like, you've got to understand where they come from. I remember I had a case one time. I'm not going to say what county, but the person on the bench got mad and said that my client lied to me because they were late getting home on the box because they missed the bus. And she said that my client was lying. And I just looked like, so you've never missed the bus before? Of course you didn't, because you never took the bus, because you grew up different.
Yeah.
So you don't know how missing a bus when you have 1 or 2 transfers can in fact put you 45 minutes to an hour late.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that because you've never been in that situation. And so I just feel like, you know, it was just unfortunate because, like I said, I practiced before her in that courthouse, and I think she did good things for those kids. So, you know, I heard a little birdie tell me who was running next year. I don't know if that's for sure because that person didn't text me back yet. Text me back. But once I find out, I'm broadcasting it like that person. We you know, I'm kind of tongue tied because I'm trying to just be careful about what I say. Like I don't want to get in trouble.
Right. Practicing, man.
Right.
What else you got?
I think that's about it, man.
Some
while she was talking, something popped up, but I lost
15
it.
things popped up while
That's
you
a
was
lot.
talking. Yeah.
I know it's like, what's it like being a black attorney in, you know, Ohio?
Oh,
like,
I know what one of my
it's a lot challenging.
my questions, the most challenging thing for you. Not even putting the race in it, not even putting the gender in it, just it can be the independent part of what's been the most challenging thing for you in practicing law.
In practicing law, not getting there.
No, not getting
Okay, because, getting there.
It could have been like a real sad situation where a client, something bad. I mean, it could be anything.
I think, like I said, I'm a public interest attorney, so I've never wanted to be the big name corporate or the big law firm attorney, and it's no diss to them. You know, everybody has a job to do, and they do it well, and it's necessary. But I care about, you know, touching the people, and that's the hard part, because then you deal with a lot of folks who are impoverished. You deal with a lot of folks who have mental health issues, substance abuse issues. You deal with a lot of homelessness. And like I said, like when I was a public defender in juvenile, like I started looking around and it was depressing because it was like, dang, like this is what our kids, they really think that this is it.
Right.
You know, and why do they have to, you know, you get frustrated as a person of color to see so many people of color to come through. And you know that crime is not a color-based thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or delinquency in the juvenile's case. So the hardest part is just knowing that there's so many people struggling and you can only do stuff one case at a time if you get that case. You know, and I think that's why it makes me the type of lawyer I am. Like, I'm not just concerned about your case. I'm concerned about once I close this file, did I give you something to help you be better in life? Right. You know, did I give you resources? If you say that you wanted to finish school but you didn't, if you say you need a job, if you say I'm really disabled, you know, I really should be totally disabled, but you try to collect Social Security, you're only 40. You know, did I tell you to go see this other lawyer about getting SSDI? You know, like, that is just seeing so much devastation is the hard part, and it is draining. And my husband will tell you, I'll come home and I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer no more. I quit. I'm done. And then also like the political BS that goes on. I can't do it. Like, I'm not that person like likes to play the games and all that other stuff. Like, man, just give it to me straight. Just do your damn job. You know, quit with the foolishness. Like, it's people do too much, and it makes me angry. And then I come home like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm about to go make pots or something, pottery. Like, I'm just gonna go crochet for the rest of my life or something.
So what would you do if you didn't do practice law?
And I would still be doing community. It's always going to be community based. It's always going to be trying to figure out how to empower the people. Yeah. Educate and empower the people. That's my mission. Like, so one day I will stop practicing law because some days it gets a little hairy. You're like, I don't do this no more, you know. But I thank God for my experience. My experiences, because little did I know I have so much up here to share. And whenever I talk to people, it's like such a good feeling because they're just like,
whenever you talk, well, we probably had at least maybe 4 conversations.
Yeah.
At least 3 of them have been long
Yes.
and deep and great conversations.
Thank you.
So you definitely, I can attest to that for sure. That's 100
Thank
for
you.
real.
I appreciate that.
That's having a conversation with her was what. Having the conversation with her was exactly why I said, "Hey, you got to come on the show."
It was
You know what
like
I'm
we were
saying?
just talking about whatever was going on in the city, and
Yeah.
you know, and he was just like, I should have just had you. I was like, oh well, shoot,
Yeah.
whenever anything that has to do with.
And matter of fact, that that last conversation, whatever it was we was actually talking about, she was like, did you start jotting it down?
You did, yeah.
So I got.
Like, I want to talk about this one.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
yeah. So I
actually,
wouldn't forget.
like this is the printout from my notes in my phone,
Oh.
and then I started filling it in. Like I want to cover some of these points. You
Did
know,
you get to cover everything you want to
I
talk
don't
about?
think so. Like, let me see. I kind of went over the rights, my passion. I think I got
You'll
to
be
touch
back.
on everything.
You'll be
Well,
back.
thank you.
Yeah.
doubt.
I think you probably work good as a lawyer too because you got like a common tone to your voice,
Mm-hmm.
and that might help the way you give people messages.
Wow, thank you.
Right.
It's crazy. Like we do music, so I listen to tones and like,
Mm-hmm.
is it abrasive? There was some like noise. It's like
She seen us perform together.
okay.
I did. It was
Duh.
so live. Like I like. It was really dope. I came with a fire.
Okay.
That's
I
my
think I
good. Shout out
remember.
to fire.
Yeah,
I
shout
love
out
her.
to Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we about to get up out of here. We've been rolling for a minute, man. But I want to play a game with you real quick. This game is called This or That.
Oh God!
Yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you two options.
Don't
and you
get me
gonna
in
tell
trouble. I'm married. He's right here.
Nah, this is gonna be the this or that lawyer version. No incrimination, no troubles, man. Cat or dog,
Dog.
cookie or brownie.
Brownie.
Hey, I just added one new one. I had to skip over it.
Why? Don't get me in trouble with the bar.
Yeah, man. I don't, it's funny though. Movies or Netflix?
Movie. Netflix. I'm a homebody. Netflix.
Cash money or no limit?
Dang.
Which one you taking, man?
Oh, why would you do this to me?
Either
You like got me an ex.
yeah,
You
man.
got Mac.
You got mystical
Fiend.
Fiend.
Mystical. Oh, Mr. Cal. Like, but I love
Silk the Shocker, one of the worst, maybe
the
the
worst
worst
rappers ever. Sorry, Silk.
Hey man,
Sorry.
it's
It was terrible. I would turn his verse. Like, oh my God, it's awful.
trash.
Oh.
He was like a real bad Blueface. He was way more
I don't
offbeat
even know.
than Blueface.
I haven't heard Blueface. Like I'm
heard one.
turning into an old person for real. Like there's a lot of new music, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Little like who else? What baby? Who little baby?
Yeah.
What?
It's 14 babies out right now.
I'm going to say. That's hard. Like, cause you got Hot Boys, you got Wayne, you got Juvie.
This is an
BG.
easy one.
It's not easy. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with Cash Money. Just 'cause, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with No Limit just because that was my first New Orleans love.
Oh,
That's
man.
my first New Orleans. It's so hard. Like you know why? Mia X. Like Mia X is so fire to me.
I got a
And
theory on
She's
her.
still doing it. She's still doing it.
I got a theory on big girls rapping,
She lost weight.
but still, I feel like they thrive more.
Yeah.
Even like Lizzo.
Like Lizzo. That's what I was thinking.
Because look
Lizzo
at-
is the shit.
They promote to the black community. Look at the black community's aunties, mamas, and grandmas. We used to respecting what comes out of a portal that looks like that, a bigger
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
These chicks can be out here with they things out all they want and be
Yo.
stripping, but it ain't gonna yield no respect. I respect that shape that information is coming out of.
Yeah.
But
Hold on, I gotta change my answer. I'm sorry. I play more Cash Money than I play No Limit. Hands down.
Yeah, man.
On the way over, we were listening to Loud Pipes.
right, Manny Fresh is out here, man.
I can't do it. Like, yeah, I was
like,
bugging.
yeah, you
My
tripping.
bad. I was bugging. I'm sorry, but and it was all hanging on Mia X though, because she's so fire. Like I love her, but nah, I play way more Cash Money than a No Limit.
Yeah, man, they taking over for the 99
In the 2000. In
Yeah,
fact,
man.
we played that at the wedding.
Really?
When it got time for the beautiful music to stop and time to party, it was like Cash Money taking over for the 99 and the 2000. We like,
got up. Let's see, Martin or Prince? Excuse me. Martin or Fresh Prince?
Martin. What?
That's crazy, man. A lot of people would be swayed, man. Prince or Mike?
I gotta go with Mike, man. I'm sorry.
You don't got to, man. You
Prince was a musical genius.
And he was writing this stuff.
Yeah, Prince is a musical genius. Like, I give him his just due. You know, I was definitely a Michael fan.
All right. Newport Kings or Newport 1000?
I don't smoke squares,
if
man.
You had to. If you was stressed out one day leaving the courtroom.
Man, I don't know. All cigarette smoke bothers me. I'm allergic. Like, I'm a bubble girl.
I'm about to ask you box or soft pack next, but I ain't gonna do that.
I can't. You know what? I think it was box though, but go ahead.
Hey, yeah, protect them, man. Everybody who work in a factory know about that. You get the box, so when you come out on break, you can smoke you an unbroken cigarette. Biggie or Tupac?
Pop.
Bowl or burrito?
Bowl.
One got to be your father from inception to the end of your life, man. Which one you picking, Carl Winslow or Philip Banks?
And Philip Banks.
It makes sense.
All day. I mean, Carl was cool, but like Carl
ain't had no backbone, man.
Yeah, like
everybody say the same thing.
Carl was cool, but he was
he was a softy, man.
Yeah, I need somebody to go down my pipe a couple of times, you know.
Right.
Let me know what it really is.
Free and AJ or Terrence and Roxy?
Free and AJ, man.
Definitely.
Free and AJ.
Let's see. Light skin and Viv or dark skin and Viv?
Dark skin and Viv. No diss. No, man, because light skin, it's not even about, like, okay, let me just say this. It kind of bugs me because I know colorism exists very heavily in our community. It bugs me when a dark-skinned person is replaced with a light-skinned person. And it's not about the light-skinned person. It's just the fact that it's like, dang, man, you couldn't find another, you know what I mean?
They didn't even try.
Yeah, and my wife and kids, as much as I like it, every dark-skinned person was replaced with a light-skinned person. Mm-hmm. The old sister, the middle sister.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was replaced with a light-skinned, long-haired girl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the junior's girlfriend, wife.
Oh, yeah.
It was
that's crazy.
It was dang, what's her name?
I don't know.
Luscious Lips. She played in she's beautiful. She was, man, I hate him. In Friday, then she played in Eve's Bayou.
Are you talking about
Stompy
Megan Good?
Megan Good.
Yeah,
Megan Good was the first girlfriend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
she kind of light. She brownish.
She's brownish.
She brown.
But, you know,
that makeup would lighten her up, but she's more brown.
But they replaced her with the light skinned girl. You know, no diss to light skinned girl. She was beautiful.
They show up better on camera. Action. Popeye's biscuit or KFC biscuit?
The old Popeye's biscuits, like before the recipes changed.
You ever have a biscuit get stuck in your throat and you think you about to die because
you
you can't swallow it?
I'd be ready to die. Yes.
You're like, if I swallow it's gonna hurt, man.
Or can we just go with another biscuit altogether?
And all the rest of these questions are inappropriate. So we're gonna end it right
How
there.
How inappropriate? Like really, really?
It get turned up.
Cause we're pretty open.
Okay. Nah, I won't catch no case. Dirty draw. If you had to rock your last pair of dirty draws or go commando that day, what you doing?
I would go commando. I don't know. Art, what would I do?
Okay, man. Hey, we're going to end it there, man.
I got OCD, man.
Right
I got OCD like a mug.
Maybe you should ask him some questions about her.
Nah, we not. We're going to end.
I want to see these questions.
Nah, because I usually ask, this probably won't work for you. I usually ask couples $1,000 of your current relationship. We had a deep response downtown.
What does that mean?
If you had to choose $1,000 or your current relationship, which one you choosing?
What you choosing, Art? I'm choosing my current relationship. Like this is my ace right here.
Y'all seem like y'all got probably a heavy friend vibe over top of it.
We do.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Like our relationship, it developed so organic. Like it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. It completely blew my mind. Like this this relationship is the longest relationship I've ever been in. We're going on 5 years. Been married 3 now, and it was so like cool. Like it scared the shit out of me. Like I was like, man, this dude can't possibly be like this right for me. You know what I mean? So yeah, we had to be told that we were together. We didn't know we were.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, like they were like, no, y'all, am I lying? Like we got looked at each other like, I guess we're together.
I think that's how the best relationships end and stay together, man. Friendships. Once you get that man, certain titles just put time limits on stuff.
Exactly.
You want too much out of them. And don't nobody owe you nothing.
Exactly.
So, man, just take that friend and be happy.
And you can't be, like, relying on somebody else to make you happy. Like,
Yeah.
you got to, I think we work for a variety of different reasons. But one of the reasons why we work is, like, we're still individuals. Mm-hmm. Like, there was this debate on the Breakfast Club about being independent versus, like, you should be independent in your relationship, your marriage. And I'm like, I can't be independent in my marriage, but I can be an individual. So it's like, he can go do his thing. I can go do my thing. You know, we're not sticklers about certain things like keeping tabs and stuff. Like, we're just weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're Aquarians anyway, but
Okay.
we're just weirdos. But we just cool. Like, we just see. I mean, it doesn't mean that we didn't have our growing pains. Like, the Arthur and Alisse you see today is not the same Arthur and Alisse from even a year ago. Like, you know, it's a constant process. Like he said, it's not just add water. Like, it's a constant, what do I call it? Adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly making adjustments.
That's life, though.
But people who base it on, oh, they fine, they look so good, she's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that body. Like, nah, that stuff will change.
Yeah.
Yo, like, you know, you could lose a limb. Like, I wanted to be with somebody. If I lost an arm tomorrow, like, do he still got me?
You
know?
staying if she lose an arm, man?
No.
Yeah!
Right.
Hey, man.
Trying to have this conversation, but I had told.
Hey, man, you hearing it here, man. I wanna thank you again for coming out and dropping a whole bunch of gems on us.
Thanks for having me.
State your name again and tell them how they can keep in touch with you.
Alisse Wilson. If you need any legal assistance, please call me, 513-814-2609. Also, you can check out my website, attorneyalissemwilson.com. That's attorney, A-L-I-S-E, M like Mary, W-I-L-S-O-N.com. You can find me on Facebook. If I can't help you, I'll definitely find somebody who can.
Hey, man. That's what's up. Vibe, where you about to be at this week? Tell them how they can get in touch with you.
You can get with me on IG at Mr. Vibe1, VIBEONE, Facebook, VIBE-ONE, Twitter, VIBEONE, for booking or mixing, mastering, or studio time, E.S.A.ENT at gmail.com. Where I'm going to be, well, on the 18th, I'll be at Motor Pub on Main Street downtown. Me, my featured guests will be AC the Entity and MC Teal.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'll tell you about the next shows coming up next week. I got a bunch of them coming. Yep.
Yeah, man. And my name is Six, man. If you want to holler at me on Instagram, BLAZESIX513. That's Blaze6513. Make sure you come out on August the 25th to Northside Tavern for the Type-ish Sundays. We're going to be having fun out there, man. It's just a whole social meetup. You should come out. Both of y'all should come out, man. Hopefully you still have both of your arms.
I know, right? If I don't, I have my husband no more. Like, I'm gonna be out here single, one arm in the air.
Hey, man, y'all be able to find somebody else then, man. Y'all still got options out here.
This don't work, I'm done. Be a player for life.
But come out 4 o'clock, August 25th to Northside Tavern. Come out and just have fun with us. It's going to be a live podcast. And also we have trivia. It's going to be food there, everything. So also follow us on Facebook at Nomtombout. Also follow us on Instagram at Nomtombout_radio. YouTube, Nomtombout Radio. Check out some of our old episodes. We've been having a lot of legal advice, so go ahead, man. Bone up. Know what I'm talking about? Yeah. We about to get up out of here, man. So until next time,
Goodbye.
If I had one wish, I wish I had a genie, a whole lot of money. Some girls in bikinis, wish I smoked out.